Apartments are typically devoid of personality, unless you count the landlord special as a personality. That's why in this video, we're gonna talk about ways you can add character back into your apartment so that you can transform it into your dream home, even if it's only temporary. Hi, I'm Alli and welcome to my channel. I have been living in apartments since 2017, so I have had a lot of time to learn different ways to add style and personality into my space. So in this video, I'm going to share my 10 tips to add character into your boring, basic apartment that is all removable and renter friendly. And you're going to want to stick around until the very end because I have a bonus tip that is so underrated, yet so easy and has a huge impact in your space. So let's hop in to my very first tip. So let's talk about those builder grade features that come in pretty much every apartment, starting with that basic mirror that I'm pretty sure every apartment bathroom has, unless you have something beautiful and upgraded. So let me show you how I framed out this mirror. So basically, I just took some really pretty trim that I found at the hardware store and cut it down using my miter saw, but you could also use a miter box like this, a manual box that will allow you to just cut the pieces by hand at that 45-degree angle. I clamped the pieces together to create that rectangle around my mirror. I stained it. You could also paint this. You could use spray paint, or you could use rub and buff, or you can do whatever you want to add your own personality and flair. And then to tack it up on the mirror, all I had to use were some black command strips, which were perfect because they hid away, you couldn't tell, and this mirror frame is going to come right on down when it's time to move out. And I love that this really elevates that basic mirror that lacks a frame and has no character or originality to it whatsoever, and turns it into something custom. And all it takes is just a little easy bit of DIYing that I know anyone can do, no matter your skill level. But if building something out of wood is a little bit too intimidating for you, I have also seen people take strips of contact paper in like a wood grain texture, whatever kind of design that you want. Also seen washi tape or electrical tape used. So there are so many different ways to add a little frame around your mirror that really then just makes it feel a little bit more distinguished and a little bit more intentional and less just like a stock mirror in your room. Next up is my favorite one, and I do feel like I mentioned this one way too much, but I love it and I swear by it, and that is by creating an accent wall. I feel like accent walls had their moment a few years ago, and they are kind of on their way out, but I think an accent wall is so perfect for a rental because it allows you to add a little bit of flair, a little bit of personality without having to do the entire room, and really just creates that statement that otherwise you might not be able to get, because I know a lot of rentals, you're not even allowed to paint the walls. So you can do so much. I've added faux shiplap, I've added beadboard, I've also just used contact paper to create a board and batten look where you can actually paint the contact paper whatever color you want. And this is so great too because I feel like you could also do a full wall of the painted contact paper if you just wanted a solid color wall, which is such a cool renter tip, and also makes it easier because you just peel it down and it's time to go. And if you did any of the other things, you just pull them off because we're using command strips. An accent wall is so perfect for adding character, and this room would have been so boring without this little accent wall behind me right here. So yeah, definitely check them out. I'll be sure to link all of my accent walls that I have done down below in the description box. Next, I feel like every rental has these boring wire shelves in them. Like, they are pretty much inescapable. Even in your home, you probably have these wire shelves if you're not a renter and you're watching this video. And so it's so easy to cover these and hide them so they don't look like this. So in particular, my bathroom had the wire shelves where they were exposed and very visible because they weren't tucked away in a closet or something like that. Like, you could see them every time you were in the bathroom, and they're not cute, especially in such a visible space like that. So I got some some plywood and I cut down the pieces to size. And if you don't have power tools, again, you could take your cut sheet. So you measure each of the shelves that you want to cut out. You take those measurements to the hardware store and they'll cut them down for you. And then you just get a little front piece of board that will be like the front facing part of the shelf, and you attach the two together. If you don't have a power nail, and you just attach the two together using nails, screws. You could probably even just get away with some wood glue and some gravity to do this, and you're able to stain them, paint them, whatever, and put them on top and hide away those wire shelves, and this makes a huge impact. Another really fun thing that you can do is, of course, peel and stick products. I could not do a video without mentioning peel and stick products. I think every renter-friendly video probably does, but I love the way that peel and stick adds much needed character. And I'm coming from it from this stance, that you want to add some personality, some flair, some color into your apartment. And so peel and stick really, truly is the way to go. I know for a fact they designed peel and stick because they knew so many of us were renting and we needed something so temporary like this. And so I have done a lot of wallpaper, I have done contact paper, and I just love the way that this looks. And you can basically find it in any pattern, any color, any style, anything to fit your personality. You can do a whole room, you can do just one wall, you could do like an arch shaped cutout. You could even put it, I've seen people put it on the side of their fridge, which was so cool and such a good idea that I might have to copy on when I get to the kitchen or maybe sometime down the line. But peel and stick wallpaper is incredible, but not just wallpaper, peel and stick tile is an awesome option because you can create some backsplashes. You can also do peel and stick tile on the floor. I'll be deep diving into peel and stick tile in my kitchen makeover with some advice and tips right there. So you'll definitely want to tune in and not miss that one. Make sure that you are subscribed so you don't miss that upcoming makeover because it's going to be big and it's going to be so much fun to finally see that kitchen transformed. Now, another thing that you can do, I kind of mentioned it here, is contact paper, but I wanted to talk about a little bit more of a specific example of adding character into your space using some peel and stick, and that is by taking contact paper and putting it on your cabinetry. Apartments usually come with some pretty outdated cabinetry. You're pretty lucky if you have really nice cabinets in your apartment. I honestly just could only dream of having nice cabinets. One day, we will get there. One day. But I have taken some contact paper as like a seagrass texture and covered the front panels on my vanity. This was a little bit of a controversial DIY. A lot of people saying they didn't like it. However, I don't think the camera really captured how it looks in person because you lose a lot of that definition and character that brings into the room. But there's also so many different ways you could do this. You could do the grass cloth for some texture. I've seen faux cane contact paper, which I did consider doing, but changed my mind. I'll link that one down in the description box. You could also just do a pattern, a solid color, or you could cover the entire door if you're feeling ambitious enough, or the entire set of cabinetry, depending on how you are feeling about that. So contact paper over cabinets is a great way to just add a little color, add a little flair to them, and then also be able to remove it when you go to move out, and then it's just back to the boring, outdated cabinets that you had in the first place. Another great way to add some personality into your apartment is by creating a faux archway. And I did this again over in that little wire shelf area in the bathroom. It was the perfect candidate for an amazing amount of character just put into a space that was just looking a little bit kind of just there. And so what I did was got some really cheap MDF board over at the hardware store, and I used my jigsaw to cut out a little arch. This is a power tool project, though I'm wondering if you could make this using just some foam core. So I made my little arch shape onto that piece, cut it down to size, cut out the little arch, and then I was able to just take two little supports and some nails, put the supports up where I wanted that arch to sit, and then pound in the arch into place. And I also painted it the color to match the walls in the apartment. And I just loved how this honestly just made the whole little area come together. It looked really good, and adding that little arch detail was exactly what this room just needed. It just made it feel like a built-in, like it was intentional. I feel like there's so many other ways you can do this if you're not super into the arch trend as well. I mean, you could do all sorts of different shapes, like a, I don't know, like a, you know what I'm saying here? You could do like that kind of shape, or I don't even know, add some like different trim. You could do it straight across with some trim, or you could add some like, have a little scallops, like that'd be kind of cute too. I don't know, there's a lot of different things that you could do to just zhuzh up a little bit of a doorway or a little bit of a little divot that is in your apartment. This next one is so easy to do, and I recommend it to pretty much every renter, and that is to swap out the hardware throughout your apartment. I have talked about this before in the sense of swapping out drawer knobs or drawer pulls or cabinet pulls, and that is such a fantastic way to do it, but I'm gonna extend this out even further. If you want to really add some flair, some personality, some cohesiveness to your design in your apartment, swap out the towel bars in the bathroom, the hand towels. If you have any like hooks or somewhere that are built into the apartment, or any sort of just like fixture that can be easily unscrewed from the wall and then replaced with a new one, replace it with something that's a little more your taste. Personally, the chrome was not working for me. Instead of chrome, I was able to put in a matte black that just tied the room together a little bit better than I felt like the chrome did, because I feel like it just cheapened the room, but the black added a little bit of some richness. It just made it feel a little bit homier as well. Of course, I love anything that is brass if you have the opportunity to go that route, but I just love that swapping out hardware is such a small thing to do. It's relatively inexpensive, and you're able to just take off the old, store it away. I usually just store it in a closet or cabinet or whatever's closest to that room that I removed it from. Store it there, then you put up the new stuff, and then when it's time to move out, take the old stuff down. Guess what? You can keep it and take it with you to the next apartment, or even just resell it, because I'm sure there's somebody who would buy, you know, a set of new hardware, and then you could put up the old stuff, and it's like it never happened. It is really just fantastic and works out really, really well, and I'm so glad that I did that in my bathroom. Next up, we're gonna talk about lighting, and there's a lot of different ways that lighting can add character to your apartment that otherwise it wasn't there. I don't know what it is, but why do apartments have such bad lighting? Either you have just atrocious overhead lighting in every room, or that really ugly light fixture, you know the one I'm talking about, you have that probably in multiple spots throughout your apartment, or maybe you have no overhead lighting at all, like this room has zero overhead lighting, which is crazy. I feel like overhead lighting is necessary in pretty much every room, because I don't know, but we'll get there. But you know what? We found ways to work around it, and that's why we're talking about lighting and adding character with lighting right here. So obviously the biggest way to do it is by adding lamps. I'm talking table lamps and floor lamps, but there are also some DIY ways that you can really elevate from just a table lamp or a floor lamp. Let's first talk about covering those ceiling lights. And you might have recently saw, and if you have not, I'll link it down in the description box, how I took this basket and turned it into a brand new ceiling light to cover up the flush mount light that was in the hallway, and it just made a big impact. It looks so good. It's like a big statement. Every time I look at it, I smile because it just looks fantastic. I've done that basket trick twice before. I've also created a faux shade out of cane webbing that I had and hung that up in my last apartment. So cover up those ugly ceiling lights wherever you can. It is 100% worth cutting into a basket in order to hide those lights. Now, if you have the ability to, and if you feel brave enough, you could probably also just swap them out with a different light fixture that you like better. My lease says I am not allowed to do that, and I'm going to follow my lease at least that far, because that is something very obvious when they walk in to know that I did some electrical work. So we're not gonna do that. Well, we might. I shouldn't say that, because you know what? The kitchen does need better lighting. It's just not good. You'll see when we get to the kitchen what you think or what I do in that room. Yeah, as of filming this though right now, I'm going back and forth about what exactly I'm going to be doing, but I think the very next video is the kitchen video, so you'll see it then. Some other ways that lighting can add a lot of character to your apartment: add some sconce lights. I love a good sconce light, like I included in the bedroom right here. These were so good, and I did not install them in a renter-friendly way, but I have seen ways that you can install them renter-friendly. I'll link those blog posts below, as well as the bedroom makeover too, so you can check out how I've used a lot of the things that I've referenced in this video for you to check out. The sconce lights are awesome and add just that nice little elevated look. They just are so designer in a space. They look like you had something hardwired into the wall, and the best part was I found these little cord covers that you could just use to hide the cord, painted to match the color of the wall, and it's like it's not even there, and I just tack it up with some command strips on the back because I'm afraid of that adhesive that's on there. I don't want it to accidentally leave some residue when I go to pull it off. I can see that foam stuff being a little bit difficult to remove, so I just used command strips and it worked fine. So that is a great renter-friendly hack to also just hide some cables, which then also elevates your space when you're trying to add character through lighting. And now a rapid fire way to add more lighting and character that way. Picture lights look great over a gallery wall. I'm a big advocate of those and use them everywhere. Also adding puck lights. They are a great way to add additional lighting through your space, especially task lighting. And also adding lighting underneath kitchen cabinets is a fantastic way to illuminate your space, especially in a darker room. The next thing that you definitely need to do in your apartment if you want to add some character is add rugs. I will always say add rugs. I don't care. I will say it over and over and over again in every single video if I have to. If it means at least one more person will add a rug over their wall-to-wall carpet because it looks so good. It transforms the room and you almost forget that ugly, old, worn-in beige carpet is still on the floor. That is how big of an impact that a rug can have in your room. So I've added them in the bedroom, I've added them in the living room. They're also just great over the hard floor surfaces. If you have just a vinyl floor, they distract your eye from whatever flooring is already there. Add a level of coziness into the room. Also just make it feel a little bit more put together and a little bit more designer, and it's just the perfect way to just add some personality into the room because just like all the other things I mentioned, they can be customized to your own taste. You can find the rug that brings in your color palette, your favorite colors, your style, the vibe that you want to create. So please just add some rugs into your apartment so that I don't have to keep saying this, but I do just love area rugs so much. They are the biggest thing that I will never, ever sacrifice when I'm designing a room in my apartment. Similarly to the rugs is window treatments, and window treatments are so necessary in an apartment, and I get it. You probably don't want to drill into the wall to hang up curtains, but even if I lived in an apartment that said do not ever drill into the wall ever for whatever reason, I'm still drilling into the wall to hang up curtains. Not only are they fantastic for adding, again, that personality and that character that we're talking about into a room, they are great for privacy. They're great because honestly, if you live in an apartment complex, there is a lot of just lights, from headlights to street lights to lights from surrounding buildings. So the blackout curtains are 100% like a non-negotiable for me because I otherwise will not be able to sleep. So curtains, please add curtains as well. Don't be afraid to do it. And if you are, you could always use a tension rod. You could also hang up the curtains with a command strip and kind of hide it a little bit, or a command hook, I should say. Adding curtains adds texture, adds warmth, or if you wanted to do like a sheer curtain, kind of makes the space feel a little bit brighter and more airy. But curtains, please add them to your rental. Don't just depend on the blinds that it came with. It's just gonna feel so much bigger and taller and more beautiful in the space by adding window treatment. Before we get to my big bonus tip, make sure you hit that like button. Not only does that tell me that you're enjoying videos like this one, it also spreads it to even more people, which is so important as we're continuing to grow this community here on Actually Alli DIY. All right, here we are onto my big bonus tip that is so simple yet so underrated and is guaranteed to add character into your apartment, and that is bringing in home decor that means something to you. And what I mean by that is not just going out and buying basic decor to fill up your rooms and basic furniture and basic things that are just gonna fill the space and decorate it, but have no soul or feeling behind it. You're just buying it because it's what everybody else has, or you're seeing it on social media and it doesn't truly resonate with who you are. And I have a couple of different ways that you can do this. The first is my favorite way, which is thrifting and antiquing for your home decor. Obviously, antiquing maybe goes a little bit more depending on your style of home decor, but if you're like me and you like my style that I have in my space, obviously then antiquing is a fantastic way to go. But either way, you just have to be willing to put in that time and some patience to really start to curate your home and your home decor. And then you're gonna find those pieces that are so unique to you and so meaningful because one, you found it, so it was kind of like this winning the lottery type situation, but also because you handpicked it, you curated it, it was intentional, you saw it and knew exactly where it needed to go, or maybe you didn't, like me, because I love to find cool things and kind of hold on to them and wait for the moment where they'll finally get to shine. But you know what I'm saying here. Thrifting and antiquing and secondhand, even hand-me-downs can have a little extra meaning, so that is one way to do it. Another way is just displaying your personal items. Everybody has things that to them feel very meaningful, that they want to be able to see, that maybe uplift them or make them feel a little bit happier from day to day when they see that item. And I think it's very easy to want to tuck away those things and hide them, especially when you look on social media. People have these beautiful decorated homes that are kind of devoid of personality, but that's just because that is what we think of when we think of interior design, and I definitely do this too. But if you're not taking photographs and pictures of your room and you have like this hot pink action figure that you want to display because it makes you happy, do it. Like seriously, put out all of those things that mean something to you, because that's going to be what makes you smile while you live in a home that is temporary and a space that you really can't touch in the same way that you would if you owned your home. So please put out all of those items. Another great one is adding art and photographs and things like that that are sentimental, that capture those moments that really bring you joy or remind you of like a great vacation or a good time with friends or family or loved ones or pets. I love that personal items are really what make a house into a home, and it's the same thing that makes a rental into a home. And so yes, never sacrifice on that. Don't just buy the boring basic items because it's what you're seeing on social media. Take the time to make your home decor intentional, because that's really what is going to make your apartment feel like something that's a little bit more welcoming and cozy at the end of the day. And if you want to see all of these things that I mentioned in action, then I recommend checking out the bathroom video right here. I referenced this one as well as the bedroom video throughout this entire video because you can see me use every single one of these tips and how it really does transform my boring apartment in such renter-friendly ways. Well, thanks so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!